Well, good evening. How is everybody doing? Good to see everybody in here. Jerry, who was first, and Wilmer, and John from Schuylkill River Valley, and Connie, how are you doing? Steve, Art, Marty. Oh, who else is in here? Looks like Sparky's in here. How's it going, Sparky? Jigoku Samurai, how you doing? And Dwight, how's it going? Glad to see y'all in here. Norman, how are you doing? CV, how's it going? I appreciate everybody dropping in this evening. Really do. As you can see, I've got my camera focused on part of my paper mill, the part I have built, and my cement plant. So that's kind of what I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm using the end of my peninsula kind of as an industrial section. So I'm going to have two industries down here: my cement plant and my paper mill. So, and then of course, all the way at the other end of the peninsula is the wood yard for the paper mill. So I've got two of the buildings built, and then also, if you can see all the way back in the back, the pulp tanks. There's a few things I still have to do as far as details and stuff like that. So, and some of the details the Walthers kits didn't come with. I looked at the pulp tanks, which are these down here. I got two of them, and I looked at the pulp tanks at several paper mills, and all of them happen to have not only ladders up the side, but across the top they have walkways. So I'm going to have to scratch build those, I imagine. You can see the recovery boiler actually came with a walkway with some pipes. And so I'm going to scratch build something similar to that to go across the top of the pulp tanks. So, popcorn, huh, Dwight? So that's what I've got done so far. There's going to be three main buildings: the recovery boiler, the Kraft mill, and the paper mill. And I don't think Walthers makes the Kraft mill in HO anymore. I think it's discontinued, and I don't know why they would have discontinued it. It's sure something that's needed. Thanks, Wilmer and Norman. I appreciate that. The other thing I'm going to do, this is just a tiny building. And I've almost got it together. This is a guard shack that's also a Walthers kit. And it's different from most Walthers kits because it's resin. It's not plastic. So, and it comes with all of the stuff to scratch build a fence and a gate, which is very strange because, if I'm not mistaken, Walthers does make a fence kit, but it's the fence is actually molded plastic. If anybody knows for sure, I think it is. So, but with this kit, you get a little strip of tulle, the same stuff that you make bridal gowns out of, or bridal veils out of. And this is to make the fence. So I was kind of surprised at that. But this is, this stuff is so cheap. You can go any fabric store and just buy yards of this stuff for almost nothing. So, but that's what they want you to make the fence out of. So, which I think is better, is actually more to scale than the plastic fences. This is a little bit finer material than plastic would be. So anyway, that's kind of different for Walthers to have a resin kit rather than plastic. They must have bought it from somebody else. But it's pretty easy. It's 4 walls and a roof. I mean, I'll probably add some details in there. You know, something to make it look like a guard shack inside. And a light and all that kind of stuff. So it actually went together, you know, like I said, it's only 4 walls and a roof, so it went together pretty simply. I just have to paint it. And then the last kit, of course, you can see the box laying over there is the main paper mill. Yeah, yeah, Norman, sorry, I guess I misspoke. The veil, not the gown. Oh, okay. So, Steve, Woodland Scenics has the plastic one. Okay, well, good. Glad you corrected me on that. Wigwag, how's it going? Martin, how are you doing? Yeah, CV, I saw that video that he did. I think he did a couple, 3 years ago, of making fence out of tulle, and it makes it does it really nicely. Yeah, you're right, Art. I think that's one of New Fenders. How's it going? That's a kit they obviously bought from somebody else. Once again, I don't even know if they make this anymore because it's. I got this off of eBay, and I don't think I could find it on the Walthers website. I know they make a guard shack, but I don't think it's the same one. So. So anyway, I thought what I'd do tonight is just kind of do some details on that Kraft mill building that's right in front of you. There's a few things. Hey, Anthony, how's it going? There's a few things that still need to be done on it. It's odd because most of the Walthers kits come with the doors and windows separate and all the vents and everything, and that Kraft mill doesn't. All the doors are molded into the walls, so it's a little bit different than most of their kits. Now for the chrome paint, I used Rust-Oleum, and it's supposed to replicate metal, and I think it does just a fantastic job. I can get around here so I can point it out. So what I did with this is I just used that chrome. It's supposed to be chrome, but I had actually roughed up the surface a little bit, so when I painted it on, it doesn't look so shiny. It looks like it's metal. I think it does a great job at replicating metal. And of course, that's what the solid is too. So, but anyway, like I'm going to paint the doors here, and then there's another hoist that goes on it. I've got the parts laying up on the roof, so I'm going to move it. Move that out of the way, and I'm going to bring it over to where my computer is. What's really odd about this kit is, I told you how I had so many parts left over from that little video I made. how many parts I had left over. I'll just turn the camera around. From the recovery boiler on this kit, it's actually missing a couple parts, and there was no place on the sprue for them. So there's a couple places where some vents were supposed to go on the roof, and the vents are not there. They weren't in the kit, so I can use vents from the other kit that I had left over and put them on. So you can see there was a spot here for a vent and a spot here, and they just weren't in the kit. So that's very strange. Very, very strange. Oh, look at there. I broke the seal on the glue. I didn't think it would stay very well because I don't think it scraped enough paint off. So it's okay. I can glue that on. Hey, Vinny, how's it going? So anyway, this is a fairly nice little kit. I think what I'm going to do first is paint the vents that are molded on. I've got just a couple. I've got one over here, and then one back here, and then I've got where some of the pipes attached to the walls should be painted. Oh, and one up here. So I'm going to do that first with. I'm just going to use a. This is a 5-0 paintbrush. I'll get it in the camera. And I'm using the Stenolres metal paint. This is actually a primer, but it's an acrylic primer. So it's good because this is painted in enamel. So I'm not gonna do anything to the paint that's underneath when I paint it on. Yeah, right, Art. Not only will I have a full complement of all the parts for everything, but I'll probably have enough left over to make a couple other buildings. So. I did find out that in the recovery boiler, some of the same sprues are actually in the paper mill building. So that's very, very strange. So I'm just going to, I've just got a little plastic lid like you get in the restaurants on top of your salad dressing and stuff. Hey, Roy, how's it going? So I just got to put a little bit on the lid and then use that and then see how well I can paint. Because I'm not the steadiest painter in the world. So one trick when you're painting, if you're not steady like I'm not, is to put your hey Nancy, how you doing? Good to see you. Is to put your other hand underneath and rest on it and hold the brush down as close as you can. If you ever seen old movies and you watch sign painters, they've actually got a rest that they're resting on, so that makes them very steady. Hey Dave, how you doing? I hope the screen's not buffering any. Shouldn't be. I'm plugged into the internet. And I'm kind of going to use this to go around the edges. And then I'm going to switch to a larger brush to paint the flat surfaces. I actually don't mind some of these details being molded on. That's one less thing I've got to worry about gluing. All right, so I've got that. CP368, how are you doing? Nisi, good to see you. And I've got some details around each where the pipes go into the building. So those are. And when you do this, load your brush up good. It'll really help. And by loading your brush, I don't mean where it's dripping. That's not a good thing. So, but I mean have a good full amount of paint, if you can see that, on your brush, so it's really soaked into the bristles well. Yeah, if you get it at the point where it's running off the paintbrush, then you've got too much paint. And if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Just wipe it off and go on. Because you will make a mistake. If you don't make a mistake, you'll be the first one in the world who hasn't. And some of the stuff's a little hard to get to, like this on this side. I said for the metal, I just used Rust-Oleum spray paint. They have some good metal paints, and they look really nice. I got the one called Chrome and did this, but as you can see, because I had roughed up the surface a little bit, it didn't come out real shiny. If you've got a smooth surface, it looks like chrome. But I didn't want that to look like chrome. I wanted it to look more like steel. There we go. Yep. Yeah, that's right, Art. Or like Bob Ross used to say, happy little accidents. This is this Steno Res primer is just a little thin, but that's okay. I don't need anything because it's really made to airbrush. But it does the job for what I'm doing. I actually prefer my paint a little thin. I would rather have to go over it a couple times than get on too thick of a coat. All right, one more. Randall Ellison, how are you doing? Jim Tedesco, I don't think I said hello to you. Hope I haven't missed anybody. And two, if you make a mistake, a lot of the times, believe me, you're the only one that will see the mistake because you know it's there. A lot of people won't even see it as a mistake. And once you weather the building, a lot of the stuff's going to be covered up anyway. All right, I think that's it. Do that. Always have lots of paper towels. Yeah, shoe factory. No, this is a Kraft mill. So it's part of my paper mill, and it's really all three of the buildings are about that size, so they're a fairly good sized building. Although it's going to be for a paper mill, it's actually going to be a small place. So I'm just pretending it's a small paper mill. And not only am I pretending it's a small paper mill, but I'm pretending that the entrance and the parking lot and the offices are on the other side of the track. So all the offices and where you'd have to park will be on the other side of the main line, which doesn't exist. All right, I'm set that aside. So next, I'm going to have some dark gray for the doors. I'm going to try to get close to what I had painted on the other building. The doors. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I didn't go back. I did the outline. Forgot to go back and paint the whole thing. So let me do that. The other building, the doors were separate, and I painted them separately, and they are a dark gray. So I'm just using a flat brush, number 4 flat brush to paint. Fill in here. And this, once again, this is, like I said, this was designed for an airbrush, so it's a little thin. That's okay. Like I said, I'd rather be able to go back over it. But the way it's going on, it's just going to look weathered. Is all it's going to look. So. One thing I do like about acrylics is they level very nicely. Even the cheap stuff you get at Walmart. The only thing is about that stuff is it's so thick you have to thin it out before you can use it on stuff we use it for. Got that just a little thicker than I wanted. So I'm going to have to come back and put another coat on those. So I just set the silver to the side for a little while. All right. So the other thing I've got to paint, like I said, the doors, and to match what I've done, I'm just going to mix. If I can see where I put my black paint. Huh. I don't know what I did with my black paint. You know what I did? I left it inside. Okay, I'm gonna take 30 seconds, get my black paint, and then I will be back. So if I disappear for 30 seconds, you will know why. I'll be right back. See, that didn't take long, did it? That's right. So I'm going to try to match the gray paint that I have on the other that was actually spray paint. So I have some black Stenolres primer and some off-white Vallejo. Now this model color is full thickness, so the Stenolres is thin for airbrush, so the two together should be a good consistency for brush painting. Oh, Dwayne, 48 seconds. I'm slowing down in my old age. So, let me see how that looks. Yep, I think it's just about the right consistency, if I can get it mixed well enough. But it's not quite as dark as the doors on the other building, so I'm going to add some more black into it. I think a little more black. Oh, that looks better. Got to really mix this. You don't want it looking psychedelic when you paint it on your doors. Heath, how's it going? Good to see you. Instead of watching paint dry, we're mixing paint. So when I have to paint on top of a large area of enamel paint, I prefer, like you do in these doors, I prefer to do it with acrylic paint. That way I don't disturb the enamel paint underneath it. There, I think that's it. Jason's in here. Hey, how about that? I am honored. All right, so let's see what happens when I try to paint this. I think this is just a good consistency, being that I used the black primer, airbrush primer as a base, and then added in the white paint that's not thinned. I think it turned out to be about a perfect consistency. And it's just about the right color. Sitting apart, you're not going to know the difference. I think I'm going to go back in with the 550 brush and do the edges. I don't want to do the edges with this number 4 brush. So. No, Heath, it's not a Canadian industry. Man, you just want to go in timeout like right from the beginning, don't you, Heath? And sometimes you have to go back in and you don't get this in one coat. So if it's not covering completely in one coat, don't try. You can come back and once it's dry and give it a second coat. Don't glob the paint on in an effort to try to get it to go on in one coat. Okay. And I purposely haven't put the windows in yet, the window material in, because of this. Because although there's no windows, there are small windows here in the doors. So, how's the weather? Well, it's gonna be wonderful here in a few hours. So the weather, it's cooling off. Tomorrow the high is 80 with extremely low humidity. I am looking forward to it. Sides here. Sides. Like I said, I'm going to come back and do the framing with that 5-0 brush. Okay. I think that's all the doors on the bottom. Now I've got some up top here. Yeah, wigwag, me too. I'm looking forward to the fall weather. I love fall. That's my favorite time of year. Turn on my YouTube videos of fall music. There's actually a couple YouTube videos that it's meant for autumn. So, and it's stuff from like the 40s, stuff like that. So it's pretty nice sitting and listening to it. Okay. I can almost do a door, these doors up top in one swipe. I like using this flat brush. Heath, are you trying to be funny? Yeah, Heath. Man, strike two. Boy, I sure messed up there. See? I messed up. I let my brush go astray. So what I will do is I will try to wipe it off here with the point of a toothpick. It got it a little bit, but oh well. Once I weather it, nobody will notice. And if they do, it serves them right. This door is kind of hard to paint because it's an awkward place for my brush to get to. glass door here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my 5-0 brush and do some edging, and then I'll come back and do a second coat. And this is the nerve-wracking part. Like I say, if you make a couple little mistakes, it's not going to be that big a deal because the weathering will cover them up. And I don't know about y'all, but like I said, I make mistakes. Lots of them. Okay. Here's one. Let's brush to a nice little point. See, the problem is when you're painting corrugated siding, that capillary attraction sometimes pulls the paint out into the grooves. So you have to be really careful. Now I got to turn it upside down so I can get the edges. Actually, the phrase, and I don't know where it got corrupted, but the phrase is capillary attraction. And that got corrupted about 10 or 15 years ago, and now everybody says capillary action for some reason. I don't know why. But everybody says capillary action now. I don't know why. I have no idea how that came to be. It's one of those things that happens in English. People mispronounce a word or a phrase, and then the mispronunciation goes into common use. Very strange. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, yeah. Because a lot of people will say for all intensive purposes. Oh, see, there we go. There's a mistake. Good night, John. It's almost quitting time, too. I can't believe that we've been here almost an hour. I don't know how the time passes so quickly when you're doing this kind of stuff. I'll talk to Wilmer and Dave and Tony, and maybe we'll just start increasing this to 2 hours. It's funny. It's funny sometimes when you think, oh no, there's no way I'm going to fill an hour, and then you get to the hour and you go, well, I'm not even a fourth of the way done. Yeah, unfortunately, I have to go somewhere else though after this. So I wish I could go. Wish I could go on a little bit longer. But we'll see. We'll see how far I get. Whew. This is the nerve-wracking part to me. Is detail painting. I don't know how I'm going to paint all the eyes on all my little HO people. And I sure don't know how he's going to do it on all of his N-scale people. Yes and no. You're probably right, but the reason I didn't is I wanted to paint it after it was together because the paint covers the seams a little bit better, and so that's why. I did not paint the details before I put it together. Could I have? Yeah, sure could have. All right, I'm almost done. So, how many of you out there do paint HO scale people? See you, Jason. Anybody painted? I haven't painted any HO scale people yet. I have some to do. And if you do paint HO scale people, do you paint the faces? Do you paint the eyes and the lips and the stuff like that, or do you just paint it all flesh color and then leave it? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Stick with the pre-painted people. Hey, Ian, I didn't say hi to you, I don't think. All right. Do I have? Yep, I got one more. Two more. Two more. So, CV, when you paint them, do you paint the lips and stuff and the eyes, or do you just paint the face? I mean, just paint it flesh colored and don't worry about the lips and the eyes and this. Yep, that's probably a good idea, Norman. Use washes to bring out the details rather than actually trying to paint. Let the wash settle into the crevices for the eyes and stuff like that. All right, just the door, and then that'll be it for the edges. Okay. And then, wow, it's 5 after 7 already. See how much fun we've been having? I paint these hoists here. When everything dries, I'm going to go back and give it another coat of dull coat. And that'll dull down the metal the metal color a little bit more even. Because metal color outside, does have a tendency to weather by getting dull looking. There we go. Hey, John, how are you doing? Mystic. All right, so I'm just going to go back real quick with my number 4 brush here and give those doors and all another coat. The paint's dry. And then since the edges have been taken care of, you don't have to run. Really, I don't even have to do. I just kind of have to touch them up somewhat. Here's my garage door here. There we go. One more. All right. That looks like it took care of it. So that's where I am going to leave it tonight. Hey, Tom, how you doing? They're just extra parts. That's all I can say. So I'll use them in something else. Like I was telling everybody at the beginning, there's a couple. This kit went together, and there's actually a couple places for vents that, and there were no vents in the kit, so I can use some of those extra vents and take care of that. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to leave it here tonight. I've got all the doors and everything painted. So now I just gotta have to weather this, and it should be good. Oh, we put on a couple ladders, but I'm going to paint the ladders first since it's separate. So this is the Kraft mill. Like I said, over there I have the recovery boiler, and then I still have the main paper mill building to build, and then and the little guard shack. So, and then one reason I wanted to get this done is so I wanted to get the buildings in place so I could start putting some scenery detail in. So let's see, did I miss anything? Why did you use a brush and not, well, because it's almost just as easy, really, for these little things. So that's why. Could I? Yeah. I could have done it either way. It wasn't, it either way would have been fine. I just didn't, I wanted to come out here and do it. And that's one reason I decided to paint also rather than airbrush, was because I didn't want to drag my airbrush setup out here. So anyway, that's it. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Basically, Anthony, just the doors, because there's several garage doors and then some equipment doors up on top and some people doors. And then I had a couple vents that were on the side, so I painted those. So that took the whole hour, so, which is crazy. But I hope everybody enjoyed it. And keep coming along on the journey to build the paper mill. So glad you enjoyed it, Art. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Make sure you check out everybody else's live streams as they're happening. And next week, don't forget to tune in to Dave Thurber to Crooked River and Eastern. Must have been that guy. Oh, that probably was that Heath. Oh, is Heath? How about that? Thanks, CV. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great evening, and I will see you next time. Take care.